Welcome to the Nebby Book Reviews. Today we will be discussing, or should I say reviewing, the book called Cilappatikaram by Ilanko Attikal. So let us begin. Along the bank of the Vyayai in flood, she wandered, unconscious of night or day, sad and inconsolable, unaware when she fell into a ditch or climbed a slope. She walked, step by painful step, up the sacred hill. The verse I just mentioned is from an epic poem, Cilappatikaram, written by Ilanko Attikal. It is said to be a love story of Kovalin and Kanaki, originating in Tamil mythology. Events in the story are centered around an anklet belonging to the heroine Kanaki, who ultimately transforms into a goddess. The poem deals with topics of love, war, faith, evil, inevitability of death, and God's justice. Cilappatikaram derives its structure from the convections of Tamil erotic and heroic poetry. The book was probably written in the 5th century Common Era. The book is 277 pages long and is divided into 3 books. The books are named after the capitals of 3 Tamil kingdoms located in South India, namely Chola, Pandya, and Seral. This constitutes the poem's setting. First, the Book of Pukar, next, the Book of Mathurai, and finally, the Book of Vansi. These 3 books represent the 3 distinct phases through which the story moves: the erotic, the mystic, and the heroic. These books are further divided into cantos. In addition to the cantos, there are 5 song cycles that function as a chorus to comment on the events of the narrative. The first one appearing in Canto 7, named The Love Songs of the Seaside Groove, and here's a line from it. The king's wreathed white parasol is a moon. If he extends his scepter and weds Kankai, never sluck, O Kaveri, may you live forever. This verse was sang by Kovalin, who is the husband of Kanaki, on the seaside groove to Matavi, his girlfriend. Now let us move on towards the review. The Tale of an Anklet caught my attention because this book is one of India's finest epics, along with Ramayana and Mahabharata. I have always been interested in classic books, and I came to know that Cilappatikaram is to Tamils what the Iliad is to Greeks, the story of their civilization. So this epic poem is exquisite. The precise use of language heightens the beauty of nature depicted in the book. The narratives create a vivid image that makes you feel like you have been transported back in that time. So Ilanko uses landscapes, trees, flowers in different times in a day, which corresponds with different emotions to shape the poem together. And Ilanko does this in a very beautiful manner. In a garden burning with flowers, dripping honey, in the vast and illustrious city of Sedi, on the silver-peaked Mount Kailasha, with his girlfriend of wide, dark, fish-like eyes, the feast of Kama, the god of love. Now I will talk about the characters in the poem. So the first one being Kanaki, the protagonist, whose apotheosis into a goddess, Patini, confirms the sacred character of Cilappatikaram. And here is a verse describing her. A perfect branch of his tree, a shining creeper of gold, was his daughter, Kanaki, who was 12 years old, and loved by Kovalin. She was blessed with virtues, so women adored and praised her. She is Lakshmi herself, goddess of peerless beauty, that rose from the lotus and chaste as the immaculate Arundhati. Kanaki is a character that experiences loss of love and betrayal. Yet, she silently puts up with the indignity and the grief given to her by Kovalin, her husband. She behaved in such a way because this is a reaction approved of by the patriarchal society from a faithful wife like Kanaki. Near the end of the book of Mathurai, Kanaki, in grief after losing her husband again, but this time to death, gets out of control and outraged enough to destroy the city of Mathurai. Now you might think she did this because she has a change in character, but this also is somewhat related to the patriarchal norms, not the destruction of the city, but as a woman cannot live or exist without a man by her side, be it her father, husband, or a son. And Kanaki was left with none of these. So she decided to end the city of Mathurai and then warily wandered without a purpose, waiting for her death to come. Over and over again in voices, seasoned by music, with faces luminous as the moon, women confided among themselves, he is the god of love himself, the incomparable Murukan. These are the lines used to describe Kovalan. Kovalan, the husband of Kanaki, is central to the story, as his death is the reason why Kanaki was enraged and later ascended as a goddess. Kovalan was an unfaithful husband who left Kanaki for another woman named Matavi, who was a skilled professional dancer. She played a small role in the story, but still was very important for the plot. A large part of the poem shows Kovalan and Kanaki's journey to Mathurai from Pukar. On this journey, they stumbled upon two more important characters, namely Kavunti, who was a Jaina ascetic, and Matari, a herdswoman who lived in the outskirts of Mathurai. Under three elegant parasols, like three moons, one on top of the other, sat the Arhat, whose existence had no origin, who outshone the glorious light of the rising sun. Kavanti of the great Penance worshipped him in the thick shade of Ashoka tree, bent with flowers. Now let's move on and talk about why Kanaki is turned into a goddess. So, Kanaki was turned into a goddess because of apparently two reasons. First, because she was loyal and devoted to her husband all throughout her life, even when he betrayed her. And the second is because she unsexes herself, which blends her with the nature, makes her one with it, and removes her from the human community. Kanaki uses her body, mainly her left breast, to rage fire in Mathurai, and is a vital reason for her transformation into a goddess. A female body which has been exploited, objectified, and abused can hold such power. To strike terror was an all-encompassing idea of the writer. Now I would like to pause this review for some time and tell you this certain incident that strikingly resembles the situation of Kanaki. This is a situation that happened in the 18s and 19s when there was British rule in India. In one of the South Indian villages, they used to take taxes according to the size of women's breast. So there was this lady who was married to this farmer, and the crops that he grew that year were all taken away for taxes. But still he could not pay all the taxes that he had to give at that time. So he was very much distressed and he committed suicide. So because of this, the wife of the farmer was very upset. She cutted her breasts off with a knife and threw them at the tax collector's office. And later on, after 1 hour, she died because of heavy bleeding. But then the villagers of that place decided that they are gonna treat her like a goddess, and they started worshipping her. So this woman also, after losing her husband to death, turns into a goddess. And this also happened very much after this book was written, but because of the striking resemblance, I totally wanted to tell you about it. Now let us move back to the review. Let's talk about Elanco's writing. So Elanco's writing offers precise details that indicate a further polarization in the situation of Kanaki waiting for her beloved. So he describes Kanaki's situation of losing her husband to Matavi with a string of negative particles such as no, not, and without. Here is the verse in which he does this. No anklet sounded on her small graceful feet. No griddle blazed over her mound of love, wound in a soft white garment. No vermilion rogue was pointed on her breasts. Except her bridal pendant, she wished for no ornaments. In contrast, there was Matavi's situation, which is described with opulence. And here is that verse. In the bedroom, Matavi's couch was sown with homegrown malai petals, musk jasmine, and other flowers. Undone was her red coral griddle that blazed over her mound of love, and the fine garment unwound from her waist. He also connected Kanaki's situation with earth, lamenting the approach of twilight, when neither of her two spouses, the sun and the moon, will be with her. Similar to how Kanaki was left alone in her home without anyone by her side. Elanco also uses Kanaki's open, disheveled hair as a motif of destruction and death, as when the king of Mathurai sees Kanaki, mostly Kanaki's disheveled hair, he dies immediately. I would recommend you to read this book as it is written in the most enchanting writing style and language. Anyone who loves classics should definitely give this book a try. It is a mystic story dealing with love, betrayal, rage, specifically women rage, and faith. Now, let me give you more similar recommendations to this book. For those who wish to read more Indian traditional epics, I would like to recommend Ramayana or Mahabharata, which I have definitely mentioned before. Let me tell you a bit about these. So Ramayana is a story of Ram who sets out to save his wife Sita from her abductor Ravan. This story deals with love, dharma, which is cosmic law, faith and righteousness. Now moving on to the second, which is the Mahabharata, is a huge text and reading it might take a while, but still the story is extremely remarkable and catches you in a moment. It is especially my favorite. It is a story between two groups of cousins, Pandavas and Kauravas. It deals with war, familial feuds, right to throne, dharma, and a duty of a person. It is a book filled with great descriptions, great people, and I have definitely loved this book. I will not say that all the characters are perfect, rather they are the opposite of it. Every character has some flaws in them, and it is wonderful to go through them. This is for those who wish to read something similar to the writing style of the story Cilappatikaram. They should check out Sudraka's Mritchakatika, which is Little Clay Cart. It is an Indian Sanskrit drama which surrounds a character named Charudata, a Brahmin who has recently lost his wealth and friends and is in love with one maiden named Vasant Sena. In this play, you will find larger than life descriptions and grand expressions of love. And Charudata's moral righteousness will definitely capture your heart. Now, to finish it off, let us talk a little bit about the author of the book. So, the author of the book is Elanco Attikal, who was a venerable ascetic prince. He was the younger brother of the Seral king Senkutuvan, who appeared in the last book, the Book of Vansi. So Senkutuvan was the one who gave legitimacy and institutionalized the status of goddess Patini as a cult. Goddess Patini is the name of Kanaki after her apotheosis as a goddess. So Elanco was possibly a redactor who took the story of Kanaki and Kovalan from the oral tradition and put it in writing on the order of his older brother, the king Senkutuvan. There is nothing more we know about the writer, and about the book, we do not really know if it is just a myth or a real event that occurred in the past. But seeing that it is a mythical story, thank you so much, dear listener, for sticking with me till the end. More reviews of books, movies, and dramas will be coming soon. Hope to see you next time.